Hello again everyone, so here I am with the next video on my video request list. Now this request was requested of me by somebody whose most important number is the energy of the 9. This person is a life path 9, but it's not their talent we're going to talk about in this video, it's what drives their heart, because there's two elements here: what you're good at, what you're naturally good at straight away, and how your heart drives you. Now you can be good at something, but if you don't want to do it, you're not going to do it unless you become aware that it's something that you need to do, and you can create or adapt that motivation to suit your life path. But it might not be something that your heart naturally goes towards. So this video is knowledge. It's awareness of what you're here to do and where your heart helps you, and sometimes where it sabotages you a little bit. So it's about looking at what you're good at and what you need to improve, and also where your heart leads you and where changes may need to happen there, where, you know, your heart sometimes doesn't always lead you in the best direction to achieve your life purpose. But that's all part of the challenge of experiencing life on this earth plane this time around. You've come to this lifetime to experience life, learn and evolve your soul to a higher, more vibrational level. That's what this is all about. And this person's come to this lifetime to learn the lessons of the 9. So this person's quite a developed soul, because the 9 is all the numbers in one. So it's like you're being asked to turn your hand to anything. It's like being a bit of a 1, bit of a 2, bit of a 3, you know, and so on. A bit of everything, able to turn your hand to anything, but also to use that power with integrity, responsibility, because when you're a 9, it means that you've got a lot of power behind you. You can influence potentially others towards their lifting up, towards their well-being. Or a 9 is capable, if working in a selfish, more lower vibrational way, can actually deceive people into thinking that they're there for their well-being, when actually the 9 is there for their own well-being. It's like it can be a very, very ethical, but at its worst, a very unethical energy. So you're here to learn to use your power, all this experience and old soulness, and use it responsibly with integrity. You're here to be quite the spiritual teacher, to learn wisdom, but also use the wisdom that's already within you, the intuition, to understand worldly truths, spiritual truths, and teach them, influence others with that wisdom, not just by how you communicate, but by how you live your life, the example you set to others. So that's a whistle stop tour of the energy of the 9, which is more expansive than that, but it's the main points of the 9. You're here to be an ethical leader, to share wisdom and knowledge that improves people's well-being in a very ethical and a responsible way, in a nutshell. But when your heart is the energy of the 3, it's a very joyful energy. You want to socialize, you want to have fun, you want to be creative, you want to run by your own schedule. You're not really happy with people telling you how to run your day, or any kind of job that puts you in a routine, in an everyday drudgery. The soul urge number 3 wants to create and socialize and have fun and get out there and be joyful. It's a very fun, socially confident, networking kind of energy, and that's where your heart wants you to be. Now the 9 is extremely creative, so parts of the 9 energy is going to be very, well, we know 3, 6, 9, they're the creative numbers, and you've got 2 of them right there on this video. So it's a very creative path. Many 9s are musicians, singers, artists, creators across the board. Whatever they decide to create, a 9 could be creative. And luckily, the soul urge that you have means that you want to be a creator. You're all about finding your creative passion and driving it forward. And both the 9 and the 3 together are all about the 5 as well, but the 3, 5 and the 9 are all about finding your passion, your thing. So if you adore music, then you're here to use your creative ability in the music field. If you're a writer, if you're a teacher, if you're an influencer, if you're a spiritual teacher, you have the heart in order to want to communicate and inspire, inform and delight your audience in whatever creative passion you decide or want to go into, where your heart drives you. And that can really help the life path 9 in many ways. But straight away, I can see that the soul urge number 3 won't be as good as about worrying about the well-being of others. The 3 is very much about their own creativity and their own advancement, which is absolutely fine. We need as many selfish as altruistic life path or energies, as it were. But the soul urge is going to get you really focused on your creativity, and you'll be less about others' well-being. So it's important that you keep that in mind, because you're here to be a 9, and that is all about improving the well-being of others. So in some elements, the soul urge 3, your heart is really going to drive you to help you achieve your 9. And in some elements, the soul urge 3 might have to be adapted a little in order to include the well-being of others. This is just in a nutshell. So what we're going to do now is we're going to look at what the 9 is here to do, what the 3 drives you to do, and then we're going to break down that life path 9 into its elements and see where the heart of the 3 is going to help and where the heart of the 3 is not going to be quite so helpful. Okay, so as a life path 9, you're here to work on issues with integrity, to ensure that your intentions are positive and for the well-being of others, for humanity. It's a very humanitarian energy. It's all about learning to improve the well-being of others using all the power within you. Obviously, you need to look after yourself as well as a 9, because a healer can't heal if they're ill themselves. But it's not just about, it's about learning the line between caring for you and caring for those around you, having healthy boundaries and positive intentions. You're here to communicate with others your wisdom, your knowledge, your intuitive knowledge and the spiritual wisdom that you learn, not only verbally or in words, but by your actions, by example, by the way you live your life. Communicating your intuitive wisdom, not just by the words that you say, by how that you behave, how you run your life. It's setting an example to others. If you preach compassion, you've got to show how you express compassion in your life. And if you preach about spiritual laws and things that people should do to help their well-being, they've got to be able to see you emulating that energy so that they feel influenced and taught by you. Your life needs to be your teaching as a 9, and you've got to practice what you preach. Remember then, this all links full circle back to integrity. Practice what you preach, be authentic, and link it back to your integrity and responsibility. That's your life path as a 9. Remember, you're a powerful being, and powerful beings need to be responsible, because they can create great brilliance, or they can absolutely lead all us lemmings off the edge of a cliff. Okay, that's the power you have as a life path 9. But your soul is that you're totally driven to express yourself with positive, authentic emotion, creativity. You want to inspire, inform and delight everyone that you come into contact with, whether it's an audience or whether it's a social group. You might be the kind of person that wants to be a performer, an actor, speaker, comedian, creative artist, sculptor, happy in front of an audience. Actually, you dream about the fact that you can show your creativity to an audience, and your heart doesn't mind the limelight. It actually craves the limelight. I mean, there might be some confidence issues in your heart, but really Your heart wants to show your creativity to an audience, and if you have the confidence to do that, and you've developed the ability to work through that, depending on what your expression number is, you can fulfill that soul urge. But just because you want to be on the stage and you dream about it doesn't always mean that you have the confidence to take that forward straight away. But it is something that your heart wants. You're comfortable working with and around others. You like to be interdependent. In fact, you actually quite like being dependent at times. You like being supported. The soul urge 3 would love to be rich and not have to get involved with the routine of life and basically do what they want. I mean, we all want that, but the soul urge 3 especially, they want to run their own schedule. They want to do their own creative thing, because routine and everyday and drudgery is not something the soul urge 3 is happy about. So these two numbers together, they're very much about finding your passion and very entrepreneurial. I can see this person having the purpose and the heart to run their own business, to be an entrepreneur in their own right, because the soul urge 3 wants to run their own stuff and run by their own schedule, and the life path 9 wants to be entrepreneurial with something they're passionate about. So there's a very big pull here for entrepreneurship, and that is linked to your passions and your interests. That's really important for this energy, because that's what really is going to fuel the creativity of this number combination. You're comfortable being around others. You like to be dynamic, courageous, bit rebellious. You know, sometimes the 3 can be a bit irresponsible at times. This is where the snag's going to come in, with the 9 here to be responsible. 3s love to just do and experience, and they're quite adventurous and rebellious. They will listen to guidance, of course, and it's not that they're not responsible for their actions. It's just sometimes their dynamism and their spontaneity can create situations that sometimes they think, oh, maybe I should have thought before I did that, because that wasn't the most responsible thing to do, especially for you as a life path 9. You want to be around others. You want to be a skilled networker. You want to be confident to communicate with the masses, opportunistic, talkative, fun to be around. But these are all desires. You've got to look at your expression number 2 to understand whether you've got the ability straight away. I mean, the ability can be developed. You know, talent is not fixed, but you start with a base talent that you can develop, and it's the other numbers in your chart that's going to make that more easy or more difficult. Okay, so let's break down the energy of the 9. Most importantly, as a 9, you're here to learn to follow your heart's intuitive wisdom, to live more by spiritual higher wisdom, higher self laws, rather than the laws and this is what you must do in the world, because most laws aren't necessarily expressed in a very spiritual way. So you're more like, the 9 is more like to go sort of beyond the veil and think, well, what is real wisdom here? What is real spiritual law? You know, and not to spend as much attention on worldly laws, worldly conventions and bigotry and the ideals in the world, what you should be and all this malarkey. The 9 is about getting past that. But the 9 can judge people at their worst. They can be very into worldly laws and conventions and quite idealistic, and can be quite at their very worst fundamentalist with those ideals, and actually think that it's okay to judge others or even hurt others in some way because they don't share your ideals or match your conventions. That's the 9 at their very worst, by the way. But in a lesser degree, the 9 can be just a little bit judgmental of other people's beliefs, other people's way of life, other people's race, because they're here to accept diverse people. So really, it means they might have a bit of difficulty accepting the diversity of people. I mean, I'm not saying that all 9s are racist and bigots, but there's a certain amount of needing to accept diverse people in the 9 energy, and that will be to a greater or a lesser degree depending on how far you are down your developmental path. This in the highest level is going to be a 9 that just sees every human on earth as a speck of light, as a soul within a body machine that they've chosen in this lifetime to experience this life. And that's all it is. That's all these bodies are. I mean, we have different colour skin, we have different genders, we have different religions and beliefs, blah, blah, blah. But that's all delusion. That's all just a tool for our experience and learning. And it's delusional. And the 9 is here to learn to, to understand and overtake that delusion and understand that it doesn't matter what race, religion, creed or belief system you are. There is no ideal, really. I mean, if there was, we all wouldn't be here. So it's about not following worldly laws, prejudices, and definitely not using your prejudices or ideals as an excuse for your actions. It's about following your intuitive spiritual wisdom, the knowledge that you already have within you. Listen to it, understand it, trust it, and act on what's inside your heart. Not only will you do more of the right or authentic thing, but you'll also be more true to you, more authentic to you, which will raise your confidence in yourself. It has many, many different things that go into the voice within you will bring you. I mean, the paradigm tells you to listen to everyone else and pay attention. No, they don't want you to go within. It will make you too powerful. So you damn well go within, because that's what you're here to do, man. I don't know why I said that. Right. Your motivation in the 3 energy drives you to express yourself emotionally, but positively. I mean, sometimes the 3 can express themselves negatively and you don't want to be around when a 3 does that. But really, they want to express positively. They want to inspire those around them. They prefer to act, to do, to inspire and inform and delight the people around them in some way, in whatever passion that they have. So to support it, hang on before I move to that bit. So the snag here is that the 3 wants to be very outward, and the 9 is telling you to look within and understand the voice within you. Now, this can be a bit difficult at first for a 3 to want to do, because they want to just go out and get out there and be external and do things and be creative, or, so they might not choose to prioritize their intuition. In fact, emotions will be most of the time prioritize their emotional state, and emotions need to be considered. It's a very big part of who we are as humans. The paradigm tries to repress our emotions and tell us that our emotions are not good and we should hold them back and look all stoic, like someone with no emotion, cold and formal. But, that's because in this world, emotions, they think, do not promote external power, because they're deluded into thinking that power is external when power is internal. And this is good for a 9 to know. Power is internal. It's not external. It's delusional to think that you can do things in this world and then think that you can control others' lives. But unfortunately, that is the basis of all war and greed in this world, is this delusion that power is external to ourselves. It's within you. It is internal. Anyway, diatribe over. So you may choose to prioritize your emotions and not listen to your inner voice. I'd listen to both of them. Don't ignore your emotions. They're a big part of helping you to understand who you are and how you feel about the world around you, and what lessons you may or may not need to learn to change those emotions if necessary. But also that inner voice, spending the time to sit down and relax and listen to that voice within, is really important. So support that life path 9. You've got to switch your focus inward to support that 9 life path. Perfect your connection to your intuitive voice within, the wisdom that is sitting in your library of your soul, waiting to be understood and actioned in this world. Because your intuitive wisdom should inform all your actions, decisions and thought processes, with elements of your emotions giving you other edge. Because your intuition comes to you in your feelings, your emotions, your knowing, feelings in your body, even like words in your head. It depends who you are and how that intuition comes. It might come in all forms, but there'll be certain elements of your intuition that will be more full front to you, and it might be a feeling, it might be just something that intuition comes to you in many ways. So support your life path 9. Go inward, perfect your connection to your voice within, the soul that screams that wisdom to you that you may or may not always follow. You're here to learn to act, as I said, with integrity, responsibility, and for the benefit of others. Because when you've got that much power, you've got to know and learn to use that power with responsibility, authentic integrity, and positive intention. Because negative intention can cause all kinds of destruction. And the 9 is capable of both. That's what they're here to work through. So you're powerful, and you've got to use your power for the benefit of others. But at your worst, you can act for quite selfish, nefarious reasons. And as I said before, you can even make people believe you're there for their well-being, but actually it's your own well-being. And people will believe you because you're such a good influencer, and you can lead people to greatness and wellness, or you can lead them off the edge of a cliff, like I said. Your motivation in the 3 energy drives you to be inconsistently focused because you're creative and airy-fairy, and focused on your own creative projects and passions. The 3 likes to do their own thing. They don't want to be in a drudgery of a job or told what to do by someone else, especially their life path 9 means that they're not going to be easily directed by others, and they're very entrepreneurial and do their own thing in their way. The 3 chooses to act spontaneously and without thought at times because that's the fun and spice of life to them. And it could make you at times act unthinkingly, like unintentionally or intentionally selfish or irresponsible. That could happen. So support that life path 9. You've got to focus on your intention, especially what motivates you. What is your intention from this action? Is it positive? Is it authentic? What is your intention in your actions? Are you creating with integrity, responsibility, and with positive intentions, can't even talk today, for the betterment of others around you, humanity, and the world. Remember, you're here to accept everyone as little points of light that are just experiencing the world in whatever bodily machine that they chose to experience the world with. And it's, they shouldn't be judging people by the colour of their skin, their gender, or their belief systems, or anything else. And 9, at its best, sees everyone as just a light that is here to experience. And they certainly have no judgmental or negative intention in that way. But that's the 9 at its very best. So to support the life path 9, focus your intention on creating and acting with integrity for the betterment of others. Of course, yourself as well. You can't not think of you because there's boundaries that have got to be there for you to look after you as well. And it's not just about looking after everyone else's needs and stuffing your own. Oh no, healthy boundaries. Excuse me. Remember, I said you're here to lead, to be an influencer. Lead by example. Practice what you preach. So whatever you tell others is a good thing to do, they've got to see you do that. As well as it coming out of your mouth, you need to be an example to those you teach and influence around you. And whatever you teach, it's quite higher level. It's spiritual. It's more about spiritual wisdom and less about the world and some of the opinions and fundamentalist ideas in the world. The 9 is here to rise above that and look at that from a spiritual level. So you're here to learn by example, not by being domineering or the advisor with all the answers. So the 9 sometimes can be too helpful and be a bit domineering and the advisor with all the answers, and run everyone's life for them. You're not here to be a fixer, 9. And your 3 soul urge will help you not do that, because the 3 is less about helping others all the time and more about their own creativity. But don't be domineering. Don't, get too involved with people's lives. Remember boundaries. You're there to guide and advise. Give them the tools to do what they need to do, and then they must run along their merry way and do it themselves without your interference as a 9. Because remember, you can be a bit of a fixer at times, but you're a soul urge 3. So that element of you might be quite watered down because your motivation in the 3 energy drives you to be personally, passionately creative, which actually creates your heart to be quite a selfish heart. And that's not, when I say selfish, that can come across as negative. You know, the 1 is more selfish than the 2. The 3 is more, you know, that we've got to have a balance. Otherwise, everybody would help each other and nobody would achieve anything for themselves. So the Soul Urge 3 heart is very much about looking and creating their own creativity and running their own life in their own merry creative way. They like to be a bit of a rebellious maverick, the inconsistent jovial leader, led by their emotions, very much so, up then down, up then down. And they may not choose, as a 3, you might not choose to practice what you preach or keep consistent views even, because the 3 is very spontaneous and may change their opinions and reactions depending on how they're feeling in the moment, which can be quite inconsistent for a 9 who's here to be an influencer and to teach by example. So that's an important point for you to take in. Support your life path 9 by understanding the actions of a leader influences others. People will copy you and mimic you. So it's important that this maverick emotion-led behavior doesn't lead people in the wrong direction. Remember, you're here to influence people in a positive direction. It's important that you consistently embody the wisdom and intuition that you teach and preach, and always lead by that positive, authentic, well-meaning example. That's really important because 3s can be unintentionally cause havoc, like running through. They're having fun. They're just being joyful and spontaneous. And as they run through the shop, everything falls over behind them. And then they stop and say, oh, maybe I shouldn't have done that, kind of thing. So it can be intentional, but often a hedonistic 3 will do things unintentionally and spontaneously because it felt good in the moment. And then in hindsight, they think, you know, maybe that wasn't the best. You know, you're going to have elements of that in your life if you have this combination of numbers. You're here to make your life your teaching, counsel with wisdom. This is all part of what I've just talked about. You're here to be a developed soul. You are. You've had enough lifetimes to be developing in your soul's path. The totality of all the numbers, full of cellular experience, higher knowledge. Your motivation in the 3 energy, however, means that you like to express yourself verbally, to inspire, to teach, to entertain. You love self-discovery and self-development, but you may choose to ignore, like I said before, your own inner wisdom because you're very outward and very led by your emotional state when you're led by your heart anyway. So support your life path 9 by making that quiet time to listen to your intuitive wisdom that comes to you, whether it comes in a feeling or words, however that comes to you. Listen to it, follow it, and learn from it. And then express this wisdom, this intuition, whatever knowledge comes to you, verbally or in your actions to others. This is the other bit that links that I've said before about being broad-minded and accepting of all people, and how the 9 can be quite judgmental and have sometimes a 9 at its worst can have quite fundamentalist belief systems. But the 9 is here to develop that broad-mindedness, to see everyone as that dot of energy that is just here to experience life in whatever body they came with, to meet, accept and understand and help diverse people, no matter what race, religion, creed, gender, belief system they are. That's the 9 working at its best, the most developed. You've got to learn to be more of a humanitarian, make this world a better place with your action, with your teachings, and with your influence in the world and with your example. You need to develop more of a global consciousness because, you know, as I said, the 9 at its worst can be very at their worst bigoted, but, at their best narrow-minded, and they need to develop that acceptance of diverse people, understand what we really are, and that we're just here to experience life in whatever soul we chose to walk this path in this time around. So your motivation in the 3 energy drives you to be happy to meet diverse people. 3s love to meet new people. They love to network with diverse people, and they choose to focus, however, on their own needs, as I've said before, over the needs of others, which is totally okay. As I've said, we need that balance of altruism and selfishness, otherwise there will be an imbalance. The 3 is more about their own needs. They love meeting people, they love communicating, they want to inspire, inform and delight others. They like to be the mouthpiece, and they like to focus on their own needs and communicate their own creativity. So their creativity is out there, but it might be less humanitarian at first. Your heart won't go naturally towards helping others. It's more about your own passions. So support your life path 9 by directing your creative artistry, whatever that might be, music, art, creativity, words, and verbal expression or written expression inclusively to help diverse people, to help others. So think about putting your creativity out there in order to focus on how that will improve the well-being of others, because that might not be something that your heart naturally goes towards, but that's where you need to go to work towards making the world a better place in some way. Take responsibility as I've gone on with your powerful choices, because sometimes especially a spontaneous 3 can do something and go, oh dear, and then instead of taking responsibility, run away from the consequences of their actions. And sometimes a dynamic 3 may get themselves into that kind of situation, because your emotional 3 drive and motivation may push you to make spontaneous, unthought out choices, leads into unthought out action, which leads to consequences that you may or may not have foreseen, because the heart of the 3 doesn't always think before they act. They want to be fun, they want to be adventurous, they want to have a laugh and see what happens. But then, of course, this spontaneity can bring positive and negative or poor choices. When those choices are poor, it can cause difficulties with the 9s here to be responsible, and their refusal to take responsibility for actions where they could have been more responsible and ethical and had more integrity. And a heart of a 3 might not always want to admit their mistakes. It's not that they want to have done it and that they don't regret it, but 3s won't always want to admit their mistakes to others. They will sort of deal with it quietly and try and, deal with it, but not express it to the world, and may refuse to take responsibility when they're here to be responsible, throw their hands up and say, sorry, I'll learn by this, I shouldn't have said that or done that, blah, 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 and see whether you're forgiven or not. And depending on what you've done. Anyway, so support your life path 9. You've got to think before you act at times. As much as your heart wants you to just do it and have fun, you've got to be careful that you're taking responsibility. And then after things have happened, taking responsibility and learning from those mistakes so that you don't repeat them, in order to be a bit more thought out. Because remember, you're here to influence, and if you're influencing in a frivolous way, people can go in a negative direction, and that's not what you're here to do. Entrepreneurship. The 9 and the 3, both very entrepreneurial numbers. The 9 is all about, though, being a successful entrepreneur or business person, but it's got to be with something they feel passionate about. They've got to choose work or business or entrepreneurship that has meaning for them, something that their heart really attests to authentically. That's what's going to help the 9 to be full of authentic, well-meaning, true wisdom, because it's where their heart lays. So they're always going to try and do the best by that passion, by that meaning, whatever that might be. Because remember, you're that powerful force for change as a 9. You've got a lot of energy and a lot of ability to influence others towards wellness or destruction. So your motivation in the 3 energy drives you to want to be an entrepreneur, which is a good thing because you're not good in employment as a 3. You don't like being told what to do. You certainly don't like routine. And you prefer to work on your own creative pursuits with your own self-directed schedule, which in itself can be quite inconsistent. But that's how the 3 likes to be. They'll either work excessively hard on a project that they can't leave alone, or they'll procrastinate for days and rest, and they might not feel so good one day, so they'll work less. They might feel good another day and work more. That's how 3s like to run their life if they have free choice. So you've got to find meaning in what you do and use your creative passions and interests and your meaning in life as the basis of your creative business and entrepreneurship. Whatever you do as an entrepreneur, it's got to have a deeper meaning, not only to you in your heart, but a deeper bringing well-being to people. Okay, so it's got to be something that you not only love but also helps others when you express it. Excellent social skills are vital for a 9 who's here to influence, because if people don't want to listen to you, you can't influence, you can't teach. People won't care how you express yourself, so social skills and getting people to listen and understand your influence is really important for a 9. Excellent social skills and charisma development is something that's really important. A powerful speaker, an influencer of others, someone that is listened to, is really important for a 9 to develop. People need to start hanging on your every word because you're a spiritual teacher. That's what you're here to be, an influencer, an authentic, responsible teacher of spiritual wisdom, knowledge and intuition. Your motivation in the 3 energy means that you want to be confident, you want to be that jovial life of the party, you dream about being the centre of attention, the most confident person in the room. You love being the centre of attention, captivating the social group or audience that are around you. So support the Life Path 9, your Life Path 9, by taking up opportunities to experience and develop your social confidence. You love to socialise as a 3, so get out there as much as you can and develop your social confidence, meet new people, develop your confidence and charisma, so to help you to influence others. So it's to help you to help others. So the more you influence them, the more they become towards well-being, but with boundaries, because you can only help people so much, remember, and there needs to be healthy boundaries there. So take up opportunities to experience and develop your social confidence and your social charisma to help you better influence others and for people to want to take notice of your influence. That's important. You're here to look after the well-being of others. Remember, the 3 is quite selfish in its heart. But when you're in trouble or need support, you don't ask for help either. So, the 9 can tend to help too much and then not ask for help themselves because they, for some reason, think it's some kind of weakness to ask for help back and think that they're the only person that helps others and they must be strong and, help themselves. And, it's all about interdependence. The 9 needs to ask for help more. However, the motivation in the 3 energy is going to help here because 3s like to be helped, 3s like to be supported, and they enjoy being looked after. So that's going to help you to water down this element, and you might be more likely to ask for help and be more dependent at times. And as you're a soul urge 3, you might be less inclined to totally focus on the well-being of others because you're a creative, selfish 3. So the soul urge 3 here is going to help water down the issues that could be created by this element. The 9 can be totally about others' well-being, totally about influencing others, and then not asking for help themselves and crumbling under the pressure that they don't let anyone know that they're crumbling under, and not ask for help. And the 3 really likes asking for help, and the 3 really isn't so much all about totally looking after the well-being of others. So the balance here could be helped by the soul urge 3 to bring on a little bit more of self-focus and to have that a willingness to ask for help to others. So support your life path 9 by learning to give and receive in equal measure, not be too independent or too dependent. You're here to help, but also to accept help from others. That's really important. And finally, as a 9, it's the end number, it's endings. And because of that, you've got to learn to be able to wrap things up, let go and surrender. And that means that the 9 can sometimes hold on to things and not let go. And it can hold them back. And sometimes it's a victim mentality that they hold on to. So you've got to learn to let go. Learn from whatever you've gone through. I've learnt that lesson from that experience. Now I'm just going to wrap it up and move on. I've taken the lesson from it I need. Put it back on the shelf. Don't hold it there. Don't feel, oh, I've been wronged and I'm going to take revenge. You know, it can get very much like that for a 9. You've got to let go, surrender and learn the lessons that that experience wanted you to learn, and not have a victim mentality or hold on to feelings that no longer serve you anymore. Unable to move on from perceived injustice. And this often goes back to family. And, you know, if this is allowed to fester, it can be the basis of irresponsible, selfish, negative action of a 9. If they feel they're justified because of what has been done to them in the past, that it could be a person or even, unfortunately, a race of people that they hold responsible for something. And that's something they really need to get past. That's really unhealthy belief systems. They need to wipe away that victim mentality and think, what was I supposed to learn from that experience? And certainly not judge, victimize, or, you know, make any person or group of people the focus of your revenge, because it's not about that. It's about letting go, learning and moving on. So your motivation in the 3 energy means that you love to express intense emotions, both positive and negative. You're very exuberant and you love to express whatever emotions are inside you. And sometimes the emotional nature of the 3 can make you swing to and from that victim mentality, especially if your emotional state feels a bit low. But you like trying new experiences as a 3. You like novelty. You like trying to move on and meet new people and do new things. So use your 3 energy there to try and move on from anything that is rooted in your past that might be holding you back. Support your life path 9 by managing your emotions with the realization that all experience is meant to teach and develop your soul. It's not meant to hold you back. It's not meant to cause you pain or cause warfare or revenge tactics. It's not what happens to you. It's how you react and how you learn from what happens to you that counts. Now, I hope you've really liked my video. Like and subscribe to my channel. Like this video if it's been useful for you. If you'd like a reading, a long 2-hour one or even a short 40-minute one, email me. That's the quickest way to get a response from me, or contact me on social media. You can leave comments on my videos to request videos. I've got quite a long list, but I do take note of all my requests, and all my requests do get done eventually. It just takes me a little bit of time to do that. So contact me. I've got like courses on Udemy. You can call me, you can email me, ask me questions. I like to interact with you guys, so feel free to comment on my videos and ask me questions, or message me, or contact me for a reading. I also do tarot now. I've been doing tarot for years, but I kind of kept it to myself, like I did with numerology for quite a few years. And it's only now that I feel spirit is drawing me towards using my tarot for other people. So I'm doing numerology and tarot readings as my top specialism at the moment. So contact me if you want any information about that. So I hope you've enjoyed listening to my video today. And just before I go, I just want to let you know some exciting news. My beginner book, Remember Your Life Plan, has just been released on Amazon. And this gives you a basic grounding in numerology. It's for beginners and people that are just starting out. And it's good for you to read this before you read my other book. So Remember Your Life Plan is for beginners, really. Gives you a grounding in numerology, and it's sort of the level where people would do my foundations of numerology practitioner on Udemy. So that is my first beginner book, and it's just for newbies. This one is for people that are more intermediate. It provides a deeper analysis of the lessons and challenges of your life path and birthday energies, a concise list of your priority and secondary life path tasks, and it gives you a deeper understanding, and it's longer and more detailed analysis for potential numerology readers. And then Remember Your Talents, again, it's an intermediate level course, and it provides an analysis of the lessons of your life path with your talent number, with your expression number. So it shows how good you're going to be at achieving the lessons of your life path and birthday number. Again, a lesson by lesson comparison of your talents to see how easy or difficult each task in your life purpose will be. And again, it's longer and more detailed, and it's more for numerology readers that have a good grounding. And if you have a good grounding, you might want to take my Master Practitioner for Readers on numerology if you prefer audio visual, or you'd like to do both. Remember Your Motivations is due out soon. I'm working frantically to try and get this third intermediate book of the trilogy out there for you, and I hope to do that soon. So don't forget, if you want a reading from me one-to-one over Zoom, just send me an email. You might want an ongoing one-to-one service, in which case you might want to join my channel on YouTube. And if you live in the UK or you're visiting soon, I do shows all over Oxfordshire and Buckinghamshire and Berkshire sometimes, with Dear Spirit events. So come to one of our events for a personal reading, or just say hello and purchase one of my books. It's completely up to you. So these are my 3 books, and I hope you've enjoyed my video today, and get looking on Amazon, because I tell you what, to find them quickly, put my name in, Katie Ewers, KATIEYOUERS, and then my books come up straight away for you to have a look at. So I hope you enjoy my books, and I hope you've enjoyed my video today. See you soon.